Oh my God. Here we are. Here we are again. Welcome back to the Sound for Yours podcast. I'm your host, Phil Bevers. And we have video. How unreal is that? How crazy is that? I can see you. Well, you can see me, and I can pretend to see you and talk at you, but you can't talk back to me. It's a one-way conversation. It's a one-way relationship, to be honest. You know? Kind of is what it is. It's how we do it here. Anyways, welcome back. This is the new Bay One Entertainment office. This is the new Sound for Yours set. And I am incredibly happy to finally have a physical space. It's weird to me, to be honest. It's very weird to be talking. Like usually I was talking to nothingness, right? And now I'm talking to a lens in a room by myself. Um, you know, at, they think that this is the start of the new Bay One Podcast Network. BOP. BOP. Bay One Podcast. Right? It could technically be Boppin, like BOPN Podcast Network, but you know what I mean? Like it's not the same. So I think what we call it is BOP. Bay One Podcast. Right? Because like our actual company is Bay One Entertainment, right? BOE. But this one's BOP. This is where I'm going to be running the show for the podcast going forward, which I'm super, super excited about. We're going to have mine, the Sound for Yours podcast. We're looking at the Bay One podcast, the Bob, as I would say. Yeah, and then potentially even bringing on some more people. You know, I'm excited. I think it'll be cool to bring on some podcasts that are new, maybe some podcasts that already exist and are small and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm very, very excited. But you know what? That's not why you came here. You came here to listen to me talk about dumb shit. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about dumb shit. That's my specialty, my forte, if you will. So I've got my stuff right here. And you know, and here's the thing. This is going to build out more and more, right? Siren. This is going to build out more and more as we continue to upgrade and as this gets more and more developed, we're going to get, new lighting. We're going to get new seats. You know, right now I'm in a kind of shitty chair, but I like it, eventually I want to get a couch and want to do the whole thing. But this is, if you've been following from the beginning of the show, this is an ever living show. It's an amoeba podcast, right? Because you are getting to watch it go from this weird, nasty, super low effort, low energy kind of thing into what I hope to be a big, Howard Stern-esque kind of show. We have people come on, interview them, talk. I give them my stupid ass topics and my weird questions and everything like that. And, I want to make this big, sponsored, the whole thing, right? Podcasts are like my thing. So I'm trying to really push it. Anyways, enough of that. You are my therapist, dude. Shut up. Stop asking me personal questions. You know what I mean? Stop asking me personal questions. And now you get to see my face do twitchy, weird things as I continue to do my topics and I talk about weird stuff. So let's just get right into it, shall we? And I'm starting off hot because I was thinking about this the other day. And this is actually one of the things that made me want to come back to doing the podcast, right? Is that I think that men right now are going through a crisis of tummy hurty kind of thing. You know what I mean? You always hear about hot girl stomach issues, hot girl tummy issues, whatever. And women just have tummy issues in general. It's just a thing. I don't know whether it's the food. I don't know what it is, but it's a phenomenon that is not only popular, but perpetuated. Right? And I think men right now are going through this crisis and no one wants to talk about sometimes men tummy hurt. Right? The other day, good friend of mine is like, dude, my stomach has been killing me and I don't know why. And I told him he had hot girl tummy issues, dude. And, you know, and then the next day, another friend of mine, same thing. Dude, oh, my tummy is hurting. I think that this is something that we should be talking about more. To be honest, that's the end of that bit. That's as far as I got with that. You're welcome for that. Another thing is that it's so funny how how low value production this is. If you're listening, it's just me and a camera right in front of me, and that's about it. That's about all that I got right now. But I'm excited to keep moving it forward. I'm gonna get my other creative partners in on it. Hopefully, get them on the show here pretty soon. We have a whole setup. I want to do all this different kind of stuff, right? Um, but the next thing I wanted to talk about is I feel like people, as they get older, become more and more like dogs, right? In the sense where, like, you know, easily lose attention on things, forget things, wander. I've noticed that my dad and my mom a little bit, they wander, right? They'll just wander away from a conversation mentally or physically. Will literally just start walking away. It's like, okay, I guess that's it. Um, but it's not just that. It's like I said, it's the kind of getting easily distracted by stuff. It's also like this noise that they make, right? And if you have a dog or you've been around a lot of dogs, you know that like some dogs just go like they'll breathe in, and like do this like kind of sigh, cheeks flare out a little bit. Fucking old dudes do that all the time, and I've seen old women do it, but it's a lot of old men just. What are you grunting for? What is going on? Well, like, what happened? Well, I'm sure a lot of stuff happened. You're old as shit. So, like, I'm sure that that has something to do with it. You've just been through so much that, like, you know, like, what are you exhausted from, dude? All you did today was wake up, cash your social security check, go to a store where no one wants you to be because you're old and you talk too much and you just linger forever. What else did you do today? Now you're going to go home, eat a light dinner because that's the other thing is that old people just like stop eating as much like dogs do. It's just like that, like that's it. You've got food in front of you, or someone will make it, or you go somewhere, and they just never finish their fucking food, even if it's a small portion. Like it's over. It's so weird. Um, what was the other thing? There was another thing that I said. Oh. The staring, bro. They stare at whoever is near them, like dogs do. Where it's like there's no intent behind the eyes. It's just like I see you. Hey, look anywhere else but me, right? Stop looking at me altogether. Tired of it. If you see my eyes like dart up for a second, it's because there's a monitor right above the camera so I can see what I look like and make sure I don't look like a dickhead. But yeah, I just like, and I also like work retail at this camera shop, and every old person thinks that like with age you just like become a photographer or like suddenly you have an eye or like a vision for photography and like cinematography. And I have no idea where that comes from because no, you don't. If anything, it's the opposite. Like you lose your touch and you lose your edge. I think really what it is that I'm a hater ass bitch when it comes to old people because I work this retail shop and I deal with them so often. And even outside of the retail shop, I had to deal with them in different things. And it's like, dude, see ya later. Like, especially 75 and up, done, cutting it out. See you later. Tired of it, right? If you're my one grandparent that I still talk to, my grandmother, Joanne, love you, right? You're not a part of this conversation, okay? Because I barely ever see you, first off. And as far as I know, you're not really like this. And I think it's because of people like me and like my immediate family feeling pretty similar. Like I know my sister feels the same way. I know one of my cousins feels the same way. I'm sure the other two feel that way too. That just like tired of dealing with old people shit. We're already reaping the consequences of your actions on every single context of civilization and life as we know it right now, right? So the fact that I'm going to have to deal with the consequence of engaging in a conversation with you altogether, remove that from my life. I don't need that. Okay? Because you're going to think you know better than me on something that I have a degree in, I work actively in, or just like I just straight up know more, right? Because you can't navigate a computer like I do. You know how I know that? Because the computer is younger than you. That's how I know that I'm better at it than you. I'm just like, I'm so tired of it. I deal with them every fucking day. And man, shut up, bro. Like, just shut up. I hope that I'm not like that as an old person. I hope that I have the grace to age and to relinquish this like vice grip on knowledge and like being correct purely because of an abundance of time spent alive, right? Because it's like, I also think there's this weird thing of like, oh, well, I made it this far, so I must be pretty good at this. And it's like, not necessarily. I would actually probably say the opposite, especially if you like were. I don't know if you guys can hear that drilling. Dickheads are doing construction in like the other room, right? These are new offices, so it's like there's just no peace in mind. That's really what it is. Is they're coming after, targeting me specifically. This is a personal thing that they're trying to do to me, and I don't fucking appreciate it. But anyways, I would argue the opposite with old people, where it's like I actually think that potentially you're worse because you are this. You know what I mean? Like maybe you didn't take the right risks. Maybe you didn't take any risks. And then like, are you better at life than me? I take. Oh my god, dude, these drills, man. I swear it's like they're trying to get into a bank vault. Like the way that these fucking drills hit. Um, I take risks all the time. I don't expect to even get to 60, to be honest with you, with this dumb shit that I do sometimes. But I don't know, man. It's like, and I do think it definitely has something to do with like the political landscape and like the sociological landscape that we currently are trying to navigate in basically what feels like pitch black because all the lights ran out because they couldn't pay the fucking energy bill to keep it on in the house because they kept arguing over the debt ceiling and bullshit like that. And so now here we are having to basically like, survival of the fittest kind of shit feels like, and just like no sense of community anymore. And when you have it, it's exploited by someone else. Um, but yeah, man, I think I'm just really tired of old people right now. And I think that's a lot of people my age hold that sentiment towards the elderly and towards, I mean, even like Gen X. Like I know people like my parents' generation. What are we doing? I feel like it's that switch between Gen X and millennial where we finally had like that change. And I don't know if it's like something like the events of like 9/11 or living life, like living a majority of your life and coming to fruition, like maturity post 9/11 in America post 9/11, because everything changed, right? Everything changed. How we viewed security, how we viewed foreign countries, it became super xenophobic and super like exclusionary toward like the West. I mean, look at like the what they called the Muslim ban, which was a crazy name for it, by the way. During the Trump administration, dude, these drills are gonna drive me fucking nuts. I swear to God. Like, if you see me get up and you hear screaming from the other room, it's the other guy, right? Um, but I think maybe it's that switch where like Gen X and baby boomers were like, maybe life could go back to the way it was. And for us, we're like, no, this is life. This is the way life is. There is no going back to what it was. There's the before times and then there's the after 9/11 times for America. Um, But everything got so different. I mean, media changed immediately. Immediately, media and like entertainment change and how we kept ourselves laughing, how we kept ourselves crying, how we kept ourselves engaged in media. It all became very like distractionary, I feel like. And that's why we are where we are right now. You know what I mean? And to bring this up, the alien thing, like the government basically like fully admitted to having not only contact with aliens, but like having ships and having biologics is what they called it. So basically having little alien bodies locked up under lock and key and shit, like studying them and all this shit. And I think it was either Neil deGrasse Tyson or someone else was like, I'm very skeptical of this sudden announcement and this like very sudden congressional hearing with everything else going on politically, right? With like the Trump indictments, with the Biden administration and the Hunter Biden committee hearings and stuff like that, and with the Russia Ukraine war going on, with China slowly creeping onto Taiwan, and like and all of these different things, and the BRICS committee happening. If you don't know what the BRICS committee is, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They make up this new coalition called BRICS, and they're trying to basically recruit countries to make their own UN, because in the UN, these countries are constantly sanctioned, right? Whether it's for trade, whether it's for military practices, nuclear facilities, different things like that, they're constantly being sanctioned because the UN, although it's the United Nations, UN is coincidentally very close to US. And we have a very similar relationship with the UN that Woodrow Wilson did with the League of Nations when that was created post World War One, right? Which is basically like, oh, okay, here's all this structure and here's this idea for y'all. And then when everyone else is like, oh, okay, so like, where do you fit in this? And we're like, us? Oh, no, no, no. Like, that's for y'all. We have the freedom to do whatever because I mean, we're America, dude. What are you talking about? Like, we're going to do what America does. And you know what's crazy is that most countries don't appreciate that. How crazy is that? How unreasonable to set rules and then tell everyone else that you don't have to abide by them, because basically it's like when a parent, like a really shitty parent, is like, no, you can't do this thing. And then immediately does it in front of their kid. And their kid goes, I thought we weren't supposed to do that. The parent's like, well, yeah, but I'm the parent. Huh? Huh? I'm sorry. I thought we were all the same thing. I thought we all came from the same. I'm confused. Like, if there's rules, then it should apply to everyone, right? Except for an extreme, uh, um, what's it called? Not exclusion, not exhibit. Jesus Christ, what is it called? Exception. I know words. All right, why don't you chill out? Why don't you calm down? I could hear you through the camera. I could hear you bitching at me and being like, exception, exception. Guy, he doesn't know anything. I do know some things. Okay? Look, let me tell you something. I'm seeing myself on the monitor do this and do this. And I know that the Trump stuff, his hands, all this kind of stuff are like very recognizable as like Trump stuff. You know what I mean? Is the behaviors and like the character, like you can point it out and be like, oh, he's doing Trump hands. Okay, this kind of stuff, this stuff, all that, it's just New York hands. And if you've lived here probably 5+ years, you start to do it. Especially this one. This one where you're doing like the God team kind of thing that everyone did when we were in high school, right? But you just like talk like that. Like, and like your shoulders go up. And like everyone does that. Everyone of every race, religion, and creed. We all do that. You know? And I think it's like a sign of like how subtle you start doing it, because I feel like you start getting big with it. Like I do this all the time where I'm like, what? My shoulders go up, and I'm like, yeah, right? Do that all the time. I do this one where I'm like, nah, like pinching, doing this thing. Like, what the fuck are we talking about, bro? What are we even doing? Very Italian, very Jewish American little hand movements, um, that I at least have picked up on, and many people I know who came over to New York post high school or whatever do, and even people I know who have lived here their whole lives do that shit. Um, you either and here's the thing, you either do it all the time when you talk or you don't do it at all. Or you don't talk with your hands really, like you just kind of like talk and keep your arms down, maybe a shoulder shrug here and there, maybe like a nod or tilt of the head, but I've never seen an in between. I've never seen someone who has moderate hand gestures or moderate, non-movement kind of static conversational technique. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, I hand movement. But like I feel like I look like Trump when I do this. You know what I mean? When I'm like talking and moving my hands all the way around and blah 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 blah. It's from fucking Commedia dell'arte type shit. Um, and what's funny is that like when you're acting, when I first got into acting, like in a collegiate level, that was one of the things that my acting teacher was like, stop moving your fucking hands so much. You are projecting and you're telescoping and like televising what your next move is going to be and what exactly your motion is without showing it on your face and without showing it with your voice. When you use your hands, it's a substitute, right? And that's why I think people would think like Italians are so passionate is because they do both. They do hands and they do like the face and they're also passionate in their voices. That's why like people get like, dude, like, man, like Northeast Italians, man, like they're a lot to deal with. And it's like, I mean, I guess if you don't get it, yeah. If you do get it, they're just regular ass people. Do they complain a lot? Yeah, they do. We get it. You're Italians. Cool. Right? Cool it. Cool the jets a little bit, right? Even if it's just a little bit of cool in the jets. That's cool. Right? Um but yeah, that's where that is. I encourage you to use your hands more when you speak. I think that if you're not someone who does it, it will make you feel so much more expressive. And I think you can like it's almost like you're acting it out, you know, which is interesting. You know, something is not interesting or just doesn't matter when someone goes, yeah, which isn't. Oh my God. But you know, something is not that interesting when someone goes, yeah, well, that's interesting. It, if it was, you wouldn't have to say it, right? If you have to, and it's the same thing with the energy of like when like someone says something like a joke or does a bit or something, and someone goes like, dude, that's hilarious. You didn't laugh. I don't believe you. I think you're lying now. You didn't even laugh at all. You didn't even attempt to laugh at that. You know, you were like, dude, that is so funny, man. Damn. And then nothing. No haha, no guffaws, no hee hee, no hoo hoo, no little snickering, nothing. You're not you when you're hungry, okay? Start snickering. All right, well, there's the end of that joke. I think, oh man, I had this thing the other day. This is going to be a really New York thing, and I'm sorry for those who like. If you live in a city that doesn't have major public transport, you're really not going to get this because you've never had to go through this like experience. But I think that swiping a card or like trying to go through a turnstile will be the thing that I dead name in my suicide note. Because the other fucking day, I I go down and this is like the Port Authority stop on the blue line, which means I'm at 8th Avenue and 42nd, which means that I'm right next to Times Square. Arguably a busier spot than Times Square is, like in terms of the subway, right? Because the streets and the sidewalks of Times Square are filled with tourists that are walking around who just got out of Port Authority, either on the bus or getting back from Newark Airport, right? It's one of the first places you go if you're a tourist is because everyone always fucking talks about Times Square, right? And I'm at Port Authority, which is the bus terminal. So like it's a major traffic area for like foot traffic. And I'm like I get down, I walk down the stairs, and I go up to the turnstile, and the people in front of me are like clearly not from here because they're looking at the subway cards like it's a foreign object, like it just fell from the fucking sky, like space. Like an asteroid was like rocketing through space and just like bam, fisted right through the fucking atmosphere and broke apart as it came through. And then as it broke apart, the only thing that was left was this one plastic fucking subway car just like coming in and then landed in this fucking dumbass's hand, right? And they're looking at it like, what, what? And they're trying to swipe and 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 trying to swipe. And it took them so fucking long. And me and the person behind them, as soon as they got it, me and the person behind me are like, go, 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 go. Like, if you don't go fast enough, it's just going to click lock again and then you won't be able to go through and you wasted a swipe. And if I have to stand here behind you for another fucking second longer than necessary, I'm going to fuck you up. I'm going to punch you. I'm going to donkey punch you in the back of the head straight up. All right. I can't, it's one of the things I cannot stand is like, if you can't do it on the first or second try, move and wait until there's no one else who need to go through. Because at this particular turnstile, there are two that you can go through. And the etiquette is that you use one to go through, especially during busy traffic like this was. You can only use one of them to go through because the other one is for out. It's for people to get out, right? And there's a constant stream of people coming out and coming out and coming out. So this turnstile is the only one we got to get our asses inside, right? And it's not one of like the jump ones where you could just like jump right over. It's one of those rotating door ones, which makes it feel like you're going into a fucking max prison, right? Like a max security prison. And those click even faster, by the way. When you swipe, like you gotta go because that shit'll click right behind you, right? And so we're like, she swipes and we're like, go, 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 go. Makes it through. All right. The next person in their group, like there's only two people that need to get through. First person, go. Other person takes like 4 or 5 fucking swipes again. And the thing is, in between swipes is like they're looking at the card again. Like that's gonna change it. Like they're gonna find, oh, that's the sweet spot. Bing. Like, no, you just gotta go. It's a fluid motion. It's just swoop, swoop. Don't do it slow. That was her problem too. It was an older woman and she was just going slow as fuck. And it's like that has never once worked. It has to be a like certain speed, and that's everywhere. If you're swiping something, it's always somewhat fast of a swipe you got to do to make sure that it clicks all the way through. Like it's got to be one fluid thing. You can't just like you're paying for something at CVS or like you got to swipe the card, right? You swipe, you can't go ting. Not gonna happen, right? You gotta shwa, shwa. You gotta go through. Fluid motion. You gotta be comfortable. You don't even have to like be like not scared of it, right? You just gotta relax. You gotta relax. Easy. Fluid motion. Don't even think about it. Just go ping. That's it, right? Same thing with the subway. You're going ding, 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 right? So she finally gets through. We do the same thing. Wow. Go, go, go. All that kind of shit, right? And then it goes to be my turn because I'm next. And I'm like trying to rush because I know this train is about to be here in a second. Because I'm one of those assholes who checks and I don't leave until I know that like I'm gonna I'm gonna get to the platform and immediately it's gonna be there. Because I'm not trying to wait around like some dickhead on a platform for 10 fucking minutes waiting for my train, right? Fuck that. So I go to swipe, I missed it. I didn't get it on the first try. I didn't get it on the second try. It took me 4 fucking swipes to get it. And the sweat that immediately started coming out of my fucking forehead and the heart pumping. Like, dude, I thought I was like having my first kiss again. Or like I like I pants like went outside without pants on and there was a whole crowd of people. Like I was so distraught by this fucking thing. And I could tell the dudes behind me had that energy of just like you was talking shit. We were all talking shit together, and I thought we were gonna be quick. I thought we all knew what we were doing. Clearly, you don't know what you were doing, and like they didn't even say anything, but so badly I wanted to turn around after that third swipe. I didn't get it, and after the fourth one, when I did, I wanted so badly to turn around and be like, "Shut up, stop talking. I know what you're gonna say. Shut up." And I couldn't because you just gotta fucking go. Right? There's no time to explain or justify or any shit like that. Like you just gotta hit the road, keep going, right? Keep it fucking stepping. Oh man, it was so embarrassing, man. And like, oh, and it just put me in a bad mood for the next like 6 fucking hours, right? I was pissed the fuck off because I was like, damn. And it made me I had to like reflect on myself, right? I have to be like, damn, am I a bad person? I was rushing this bitch. And it caught back on me. You know, karma hit me hard. Not to quote Tay Swift, but like I was gonna try and do that song about karma is a something, karma is a cat. To be honest with you, I've never once listened to that whole song. That new album she came out with, I haven't listened to a single moment of that album. I've heard clips, I've heard TikTok sounds, I've heard other people sing it and blah 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 blah. I've listened to her remastered older albums, right? Because like the Taylor's version stuff, I actually think the engineers that she's working with and producers she's working with are great because like it feels more full a lot of these tracks and they feel more genuine. It's not like they like took it and then like cut all the harder edges off of it to have like a clean flat front for everyone to see. You know, like it doesn't feel compressed and like everything's right up against the display window, right? Like there's depth. There's a lot more dynamic range it feels like emotionally with these songs now that it's like the Taylor version. And like that's what happens when a label is not fucking pushing shit down everyone's throats and being like and like just absolutely like blue balling an artist, right? um but yeah, I haven't heard a single bit of it. I was gonna do the karma thing. There's no use because I don't even know the lyrics, so I'd be showing my ass. And you know, YouTube does not allow showing ass. I could have I was showing my ass all the time when I was just doing audio because you couldn't see. But now that you can see, I'm fucked, right? um But yeah, no, that's gonna be a reason to kill myself is gonna be something like that. Swiping at the turnstile is gonna make me kill myself. I swear to God. Um, Makes me so sad, you know? I Let me check on the time. Let me see how well we're doing. The computer to see how long it's been going is it's off. So yeah, I don't know if you saw that, but little peek behind the curtain there. My desk is right behind this, so I'll do one more bit, and then we'll call it a short one for today because it's our first one back, right? I'm just trying to get you guys right back into it, trying to get myself back into it. I think I took a long hiatus because a lot of shit was happening, and I went through a pretty bad breakup, right? I was sad boy. I was sad boy. I didn't want to do this, you know? Because one of the reasons I started this, and this is going to be so like, if you're watching this, former partner, disregard, skip forward like 2 minutes, right? I think one of the reasons I even started this podcast, because this was a long distance relationship I was in. And it was like, you know, the only time we got to see each other was on FaceTime or like pictures that we would send. You know, I only went visited them like I think I went down to where they were and they came up twice. I went down twice. That was it. And we had insane shit happen during all of that, right? Um, but now I'm back because I think it would be stupid for me to waste the passion that I have for podcasts, um, and the love that I have for podcasts, and also the equipment that we have and the space now. I think it would be a waste if I did not take advantage of it and go back to the thing that people actually enjoyed. I always got good feedback on these episodes and everything, and so I think now having a visual aspect to it will help a lot, and while also keeping those audio versions uh, for those who like to listen on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. But yeah, well, to go back to it, the reason I even started this in the first place was so that they could see me work and so that they could see my face more and see me in a conversational way that wasn't just FaceTime. You know what I mean? Where because I probably would have had him on the show quite a few times. You know, it's interesting. I don't like. I I didn't for a long time. I didn't like to be with anyone that I couldn't like work with, and now I like actively try to stay away from involving myself with people that I could work with or I do work with, right? Even though often because I don't really go out, not a club guy, not really a go all out with friends like all the time and whatever. I'm not that kind of guy. Not really my thing. Um, Mostly because I'm a bitch. No, I'm just kidding. But often the people that I end up connecting with and that I see a lot and have a lot of time to kind of like to explore like our personalities and create a bond are with people that I work with. And you know, audience members, that's not a good thing. There's a reason they tell you don't fuck your coworkers because it gets messy, right? And because it ruins like especially in a creative field, it ruins like the sanctity of trust and like safety, right? So the whole like safe space thing outside of like an emotional or trauma related safe space, right? For creatives, you need a safe space in terms of there's no judgment and there's no resentment towards anyone because resentment will ruin everything. I mean, look at every great band or like comedy group or just like group that broke up. It's always because of things that were left unsaid or because of prior beef and prior altercations that happened um, outside of that working environment. One of the like best examples of this of someone who like people who actively weren't friends outside of work on purpose was Richard Pryor and what's his name? Gene Wilder. Because they did movies together with Mel Brooks and with different directors and stuff like that. And they were in an interview one time. They were like, "So you guys aren't friends? Like you guys don't hang out at all outside of work?" And Gene Wilder was like, "Yeah, I I think it's because what we make together on screen and in these rehearsal rooms is so special and we work so well together and what the content is so good that he was like I don't want to risk having one of those moments where he says something or I say something and the other one is like, "Oh, I don't fucking like this guy. Like I don't appreciate what he just said. Like I you either get offended or you're just like it's in bad taste or something and it ruined like it soils that sanctity, right? Um and so now I think I'm more on that kind of energy where I'm like, no, if we work together and it's good, or I think that there may be a longevity, a potential for longevity within our creativity collaboration, I don't want to potentially soil that, especially in a romantic sense, because romance and relationships and intimacy is just a whole beast on its own. Um, that's why I've now have way more respect for these long-term relationships, especially when you can tell that they still really love each other and they work. Because it's work. Motherfucker, that shit's work. All right. You are clocking into another job. And it's caretaking. Caretaking for a relationship, caretaking for the other person, caretaking for a friendship within your relationship. Because if you're not friends somewhere within your partnership, it's over. I've been there and it's over. I had one of my first relationships in the city. We were together for like almost 2 full years. And it was ruined because we stopped being friends. We were like we had this like felt like there was an obligation to partnership that we had to keep. And that's just not true, guys. That's just not true, you know? Um if you feel like you're obligated to continue existing around your partner, there's an issue. But also, don't take relationship advice from me. That's just my opinion on it, but don't take advice from me. I feel like I need to do what like financial advisors and like lawyers do, where they're just like, this is not advice. This is just my opinion. Like, I feel like I need to preface anything with intimacy and like relationships that I say of being like, do not heed my advice towards your own life. This is my opinion of things. This is my experience, right? Um, just so no one's like, well, but I did what you said, and then comes out to me outside of like the show context and is like, but I did what you said and it went terribly. And then I have to be like, why the fuck would you think it's worked for me before? Like I'm still learning this. I'm still going on the journey, right? Um, yeah. But yeah. Um, I think that's it. We're gonna keep it short and sweet. Be done for the day. You know, I'm really the goal, and I need y'all to hold me to this. I need to be posting every fucking week, every Monday at noon. A new episode will come out. Okay, every fucking week, and I need you guys to be on my ass about it. Is it your responsibility to be on my ass? Not officially. No, it's not like your problem, but like I'd appreciate it. Thanks. But yeah, I'm excited to get back into this. Really get some good guests on. I've got a few friends of mine who I would love to, introduce into this audience and to grow the audience and everything like that. We've got check out uh SF. I think let me check what it is on Instagram actually, because to be honest with you, it's been so long since I made the Instagram account for the show that I've actually kind of forgotten what it is I used it as. Oh, SFYE podcast on Instagram. Also follow Bay One Entertainment on YouTube. That's where I'm going to be posting all of these episodes from now on. And follow me on Instagram, Mophead Records, MOPHEADRECORDS. Mophead Records on Instagram. Don't follow me on Twitter. I'm not even going to give my Twitter out because my Twitter is a mess. I deleted it so long ago, and I actually had to make a new one because Twitter is a fucked up place. Well, I guess you should call it X now, but I'm not going to do that because fuck you, Elon Musk, right? Anyways, yeah. Follow me on all those platforms. Make sure to check out all the episodes on video episodes and video whatever visuals will be on YouTube. Start putting out clips on Instagram, but also check out Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and I think Google Play as well is where I post the audio for these. So basically those major three podcast platforms are going to be where you can find it. And then watch out for, also follow Bay One Entertainment, Bay One BAYONE Entertainment on Instagram and not on Twitter, but on TikTok. We're on TikTok and also on YouTube where I'm going to be posting these. I already said that, but yeah. Thank you guys so much. I'm excited. This is a new era. I know I said that when I started this show, but now we're at a new era. So get ready because we're coming fast. But talk to you guys soon.